Tyler and I think like a lot of people probably have some of the same winners. We have a couple different, so we can spend more time on, stuff that kind of crosses here. I think everyone, to start things off, thinks that Philly is just kind of about to be a
University of
dynasty.
Georgia.
But because of that, is about to be a freaking dynasty.
Yeah.
I, unlike a lot of people, never thought that we'd be sitting here saying right now that the Philadelphia Eagles drafted Jalen Carter. I don't think anybody, it's just it's a situation where the rich just keep getting richer. And I don't know if it's just that these Georgia guys are, I just don't get how they keep falling to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a certain race car incident that helps.
That helps. Just in general, though.
I didn't think he was going to fall that far, Jalen.
Me either.
It was. I didn't think he was going to fall past like 7 or 8, maybe even 6.
I mean, as a whole, I don't understand how Georgia players. I mean, we just watched Keely Ringo go right now, and while I'm kind of with you in that I don't know how this jump to the next level is going to go for him, I did not expect him to fall to day 3.
No, I didn't either. I thought he was definitely. I thought he was a day 1 guy, but definitely day 2.
Yeah,
I did not think he was going to fall to day 3.
Yeah, and we just see the Eagles again. This isn't in our notes, but 5 minutes ago to start day 3, the Eagles freaking get Keely. So it's like, the rich keep getting richer. I don't understand in general how these Georgia guys just fall in their lap. And I think the Eagles, yeah, they're going to have some cap problems in a couple of years. Dynasty, calling it now, dynasty.
Yeah, that defensive line's crazy good too.
Dynasty.
They also picked up Nolan Smith towards the tail end of the first.
Well, it also makes me think that Jason Kelce went and saw a fortune teller real quick and was like, "What's the tea here? What's going to happen?" Because he came back, and now they're stacked.
Yeah, I was just
be really fun to watch.
I was just going to talk about Jason Kelce and how I think that drafting a guy like Jalen Carter, you now have, even in practice, your guys kicking each other's asses, getting better every day. And having Jason Kelce as a mentor to some of these guys, especially with Jalen Carter and, his situation and a little bit of the more veteran leadership that they have, I just think that this is an absolute dynasty. Like, going up and taking snaps against him every single day in practice is going to make you a better player day in and day out. And that is definitely going to show on the field, let alone having, some people's favorite talent in this draft fall to you on a team that was already just in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. The link is going to be crazy.
Gotta go to Philly this year. Gotta go to Philly.
Yeah,
I will be going in July for the Premier League US tour.
I'm going to
my
that.
Brother. Are you? Aston Villa. I'm going to the second match of the day.
Okay. All right. I think I'm going to the one at MetLife as well.
Oh, awesome. My brother got tickets, so he was like, come with me. So I'm super excited for that little soccer plug.
Okay, any other Eagles thoughts, Tyler? Because we both kind of think that they're huge winners
I do
here.
like that Tyler Steen kid they got from Alabama. I think he could develop into somebody that could replace Kelce eventually. But, he was, a second rounder? So if not, it's not a huge deal. But, I love offensive line depth in the draft.
Yeah,
I think I gave him an A+.
Yeah, I can't give them anything but an A+, or I would go higher, honestly. So, you like the Seahawks?
I do like the Seahawks. I love the Devin Witherspoon pick. I think him playing next to Tariq Woolen is going to be incredibly good.
Yeah.
For that secondary. I also really like the Jackson Smith and Jigba pick. I thought
the receivers.
they were kind of right on the money with where they took that. Because they started the run for all the receivers there in the first.
My favorite thing about that pick is that, you look at the receiver room that you already have and DK and Tyler Lockett, and it's like Jackson's now going to be in single coverage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That pass catching room is crazy.
So there's been. Go ahead.
Investments into Geno, and I love it.
Yeah, me too. And, whoever the future at that position is, because these guys are all still pretty young. But that being said, there's now kind of conversation swirling about the best receiver room in the NFL. And it's like, I obviously think that it's the Dolphins and the Bengals, but Seattle moves kind of right
Seattle's
up
sneaky up in
that
mix,
conversation for me. Yeah. They kind of moved into that conversation of maybe the best receiver rooms in the NFL right now. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Jackson's never played a snap in the NFL, so we're kind of, giving that like premeditated thought process here, but I think that it's silly to just assume that it's not going to be lights out.
Yeah, but in that same line of thinking, I do think he will benefit from not having to be relied on as the guy in
1,000%. 1,000%.
Because he's got DK, he's got what's his face there to like also take
Tyler,
coverage off of him.
Yeah. So I think Seattle's definitely a huge win with you. I agree. Houston, I think, was probably the biggest shock to me other than the Jahmyr Gibbs thing, just because we saw them. And I think that they honestly helped themselves here by taking CJ first, because if you didn't, that cost of that pick,
the price of the pick would have skyrocketed. Yeah.
To jump up to 3 would have been huge. And it's like, I think that they're putting trust in their new coach. They're letting him go out and get the guys that he wants. They're not only spending to be better as a team, but they're spending to put good faith in a new head coach. And I love that from them. I hate that they're in our division, but it's hard for me to not like what they have going on and what they're doing. And, I think that they're also a huge winner.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to turn things around pretty quickly there. They got my number one quarterback, and who a lot of people think is the number one like overall player in the draft, in Will Anderson. I've got him as the number 2 personally, but I also loved in the second or third round they had Brian Cushing come out and announce a guy named Juice. It's just perfect. It's just perfect.
That's good. Yeah, they're definitely crushing it. You also have the Bills and the Falcons, and then I have 2 people that I'll get into because I think the Bills obviously added a weapon, but
just
it's
really
not my
quick
favorite.
Thoughts on them. I loved the Dalton Kincaid pick by itself. I don't know if I love the rest of their draft, but the Kincaid pick was crazy.
Huge.
Same with Atlanta. I kind of do like the rest of their draft, actually, but Bijan Robinson, I think, is one of the most talented players in the draft. I know I am very adamant about not liking running backs in the first just because they're expensive, but I think he's going to be incredible in Atlanta.
Yeah, I do like Bijan.
Rookie of the year favorite.
Like that. We'll have to look at the odds on that for sure.
I'm sure he's the favorite.
Yeah, my other 2 kind of big thoughts. I'm a winner of the draft because the Jags took Tank. If you listen to our pre-draft show, I kind of snuck some of. I will say I'm gonna give kudos to myself. I fucking crushed it. I talked about how Tank was a sleeper. I talked about how and not that it's a secret that this tight end class is incredible.
Time out real quick. I just wanted to announce Patriots just took a kicker. Just thought I'd throw that in there. That's fun.
Are you
Eastern Michigan career points leader, apparently.
And came from Maryland.
That's interesting. Shout out the transfer portal.
Haley, thoughts?
Sweet.
It's the 4th round.
I can't be mad because we'll get into my
4th round.
First round. So,
not awful.
Worse. Could be worse.
That being said, and you know what, Tyler, you get some props here too because Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, maybe I'm just blinded by hate like I usually am. I'm just happy it's not Will Levis. Because we could have drafted Will Levis easily, numerous times.
I was shocked that was not your high, low, and hero.
Me too, honestly. That we didn't draft
Will Levis.
That you got your high, Will Levis, you got to have to go to day 2. B, your low, the Lions could have
so many picks we could have drafted in literally any moment.
Which gave you
I wanted Clark Phillips
every time.
No, another point to the Falcons draft. Fuck. I really wanted him. I did not expect him to be a day 3 guy either. That's a steal. That is value. No, I think Clark Phillips is sick as fuck.
He's good.
So my only other thought, Steelers, I think are kind of a win just for snagging Joey Porter Jr. as late as they did. I kind of expected him to be like a top of the 2nd round.
They had several like later, like really good picks. I don't know if I love Broderick Thomas in the first. He's fine. But the picks because they also got Darnell. And I love Darnell. We know this.
Yeah. Draft losers, we agree about the Jets. The Aaron Rodgers saga continues.
Yeah, they reached for that Will McDonald kid, and I think it's because all of the offensive linemen they liked were gone, and that was like their plan going into the draft, and they just kind of scrambled and picked a random dude.
You also have the Titans, and I think the Titans have had a pretty decent draft so far, and I know that it's just because of the Will Levis thing.
No, yeah, my loser is just meme, and I kind of do actually like the value he fell to for Tennessee. I thought that was really good for them because they're not like tying a ton of money up into him on his rookie deal. And they don't have to feel bad about picking another quarterback next year if it comes down to it.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy because it's not the Titans that are the loser, it's Will Levis.
Okay. Well, it's no secret that I have been a big Will Levis stan, and I can finally hate him because he came out and Tyler was right.
For attention. It's all psychological. It's all psychological. He knows if he does this, he's going to get attention. Maybe not at the top of his mind, but subconsciously, I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
I think that and
he's a fraud.
Fraud was doing the banana and the coffee thing for attention. I thought that I knew him. I thought that we were like blossoming. I kind of hate the kid now, and I'm kind of glad because he's in Tennessee.
I saw right through his facade of bananas.
He is a fraud.
Mayonnaise.
So I just here, I'll insert this here because it's the perfect time to talk about it. Thoughts on the green room situation on Thursday night with him being kind of there alone with, I think, one other guy. It was kind of a bummer. I've seen a lot of moms in particular on Twitter saying that we should no longer do that because it is really uncomfortable when they don't get picked. Thoughts?
I think that,
it'll always be done. That's not ever going to change.
I think it's kind of an inevitable situation because that's the whole point.
The producers crave that kind of situation too.
I'm going to be a bitch for 45 seconds, and that is a short amount of time for me. I love moms. We know this. Moms are my favorite. But respectfully, shut the fuck up. Like, your son or whatever is getting drafted into the NFL and is projected to be one of the first 32 people out of thousands of college kids to have a life-changing thing happen to them. And the worst thing that happens to them is they're going to sit on a couch a little bit longer than thousands of other kids that are playing football to make millions of dollars. I'm sorry. I'm sure as a mom, it hurts your heart. It would probably hurt mine tut, but shut up.
I mean, they're also like waited on and given like all this food and all this like
their shit's paid for.
Yeah, like they're at like a 5-star resort in that room.
Yeah, shut up. Sorry, I know that's bitchy. I'm giving Felger right now, but like, goddamn.
No, I agree.
I started my period this morning. If you couldn't tell, I'm feeling, sorry for the boys listening, but periods happen.
Sorry for our 90% of our audience.
Sorry for bleeding. One of my losers is the Rams. They kind of have just given, and rightfully so, they won a Super Bowl. They gave up picks because they knew that they were right there, but they have kind of lost the draft for me. I don't think that they have been able to recoup what they have given up, even though they did win a Super Bowl, and that sounds really stupid. But the only reason that they haven't been able to do so is just because of their drafting, not the players that have been available, which I think has a lot to say about the talent in this draft. We talked about this the other day. I don't think that this is the deepest draft. I don't think that there's the most talent in this draft that there's ever been. Maybe at the tight end position. I guess you could argue offensive tackle even maybe, but there's been so many people that like, even we've talked about in the last 20 minutes since we hopped on this show that have fallen so far and had great value. And I just don't think like a couple of other teams, they've been able to take advantage of that. Like that they need to be able to kind of justify what they've given up, even though that sounds silly, like I said, because they've won a Super Bowl. And my other loser is also my winner, and that's the Lions, strictly just because their first round had me shaking my head a little bit. But
it's very Dan Campbell.
But their second and third day, I think they had guys fall to them that made up for what they invested in the first round. And
the Brian Branch is kind of on paper more talented than either of the guys they took in the
first. Yeah.
But that's very Dan Campbell, very I forget our GM's name, but very on brand for him too.
Yeah. I had said on Twitter that I thought that Balky should have taken all the picks. that he acquired by trading back a couple of times in the first round to move up to get Brian Branch, because there in my mock, he wasn't available on day 2. And you need to address that position. And he's a guy that you were looking at in the first round. And now you're sitting here with 10 picks on day 3 for what? Like, yeah, the third round is the most important in all of it, but you don't need 10 picks on day 3.
I kind of disagree. I kind of like having this draft, particularly, where there's so much like mid-level talent. I think I would rather have a ton of like day 2 and 3 picks than day 1 picks in my book.
See, but what are we going to do?
That's kind of why the Lions did some similar stuff with that. They kept trading down and just stockpiling their day 3 picks. I kind of like that, which is why I don't feel as bad about the rest of the draft.
Your practice squad is not going to win you a Super Bowl. Your practice squad,
but they could develop into something crazy.
How many realistically out of these 10 picks today do you think get a second contract with the Jaguars? Out of 10, how many?
With the Jaguars?
I go 2 tops.
I don't have as much faith in the Jaguars farm organization as I do the Lions. No offense.
You have to give an answer, Tyler, because you're very rooted in your thought process here. So Kendra's saying 2.
Well, I mean, if I'm saying, I would say I'll just take over that. I'll say like 5. I'll say half of them.
Half of them get a second-year contract.
Sure.
Okay. No, not second year. Get a second contract.
Second contract.
With anybody?
Yes. Sure. No, with the Jaguars, because that's been the focus
probably
on us.
Closer to 3 or 4.
I'm going 2. And your practice squad doesn't win you Super Bowls. It's cool if you have a sick practice squad, but what the fuck are you going to do with it?
Yeah, I don't know.
That being said, I think that's another thing. I do think. All right, we're moving into recapping our teams. We'll start off with the Jags. While I do love the Tank pick, it is because I love Auburn, and I do think that he's a great pick there. I did say that I wanted a running back in this draft. I didn't really want one until day 3. I do think Tank has great value. I think that that's a B+ pick. Our first round, the Anton pick, I put this on here's my issue with it. I said that if this Cam Robinson thing wasn't going on, I don't think that this is the pick we would have made. And I will stand by that. Do I think that he's going to be a great player? Does it address a need that we need 3 or 4 years from now? Yes. Does it allow us the opportunity to get out of Cam Robinson's contract in that 3rd-year mark like we should probably do at this point, in my opinion, depending on how this B sample comes back? That's how I feel about it. I think that we could have gone a corner or addressed the defense if that were the case. Also, that being said, I do love this tight end class. I've said that I think it's a very talented tight end class, but it kind of makes me feel as though the conversation with Evan Ingram isn't going how they want it to. Therefore, they're investing in a 2nd-round draft pick in Brenton Strange, who I think is a great tight end. We talked about him on our last show. I think this tight end class is so stacked. And, Trent said he wasn't necessarily looking for a tight end, but if the right guy fell to him, then he'd take him. And I guess that the right guy fell to him, and, him and Trent thought that was the best thing to do. My other issue is that we we re-signed a lot of our own players this season, and that's awesome. I love bringing guys back that know the culture, love the culture, want to be in Jacksonville, know the team, know how the inner operations work. But the offense, yes, there were some pieces that we needed to add, but it's not the weakness on our team. We lost a lot on defense. And sure, the last few drafts, we've invested in the defense early, and we haven't really seen those, fruits of our labor really develop in a way that I think that they expected them to. So maybe that's why they decided to go offense. Maybe they're shopping the free agency market in Budda Baker and somebody else on the defensive side of the ball. But I think that you need to take at least 8 out of these 10 picks, if not all 10, and fucking invest it in the defense today. End rant. I give the Jaguars a B.
A B? I give a C+.
I give him a straight
I think the Anton Harrison pick is a little bit wild. I don't even know if he was I don't think he was the best offensive lineman on the board at the moment. And I feel like mistakes are kind of made when you're drafting so reactionary.
Yeah, I agree.
What's going on? I think they should have stuck with their board pre.
They've been preaching that they have, though, even through yesterday.
They're always going to preach that they have. But
yeah,
I don't think that's the truth. Tanks Bigby, though, I think he's the bright light at the moment.
I agree. I think
Because
that Tank.
even if you are a homer for liking Tank, I do think he's really good. And I think being that, what would he did? Second option, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what they kind of want to do with
Doing a system, I think is great.
I think that they want to do that 1-2 punch at running back, especially because, you know, there is like, don't get me wrong. Do I think Travis is our number one running back? Obviously, I'm not stupid. But here's the thing. He does have turnover problems. So he can't be, you know, the guy carrying 80% of those snaps. And yeah, a lot of those problems do come in the end zone. So I think that they want to run that 1-2 punch at running back. And I'm cool with that. I love a good running game. And when you have Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, and Zay Jones as your wide receivers, our offense is about to be nasty. But how can you win a championship when you let somebody put up 35 points on you or 20, what was it, 27.5? Even though a lot of that was Trevor Lawrence's fault. Don't get me wrong. And the defense won our game. The defense saved our ass and the defense got us into the playoffs. But that's where we lost a lot of people in this offseason. And I just haven't seen them make up for it. I don't think we've gotten better than we were last year. And I just don't want to go back to being a poverty franchise. And I've seen a lot of people arguing on Jags Twitter today. I've seen a lot of reporters going after people who are negative and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're allowed to have your opinion. You're allowed to be as positive as you want, but people are also allowed to be concerned. This fan base has been hurt, and this fan base has been hurt bad. And you know what? They've been hurt by Trent Baalke. And yeah, the team has turned around and the team's found success, but that's one season. This isn't a repeat playoff situation. People are scared, and they have every right to be because they've been slapped in the face for almost 20 years now. So you know what? I have no problem with people saying whatever they want. It sucks that it's on social media and yeah, players and draft picks and stuff like that can see it. But people can say what they want to say. People can be as upset as they want to be. People can question Trent Baalke. They have every right to do that. And it's only Doug's second year. This fan base hasn't been through a draft season with Doug. Like, I trust them. I know that you can't really judge talent until 3 years into it, but draft day has been a very triggering thing for me and the rest of this fan base for a very long time. Now my rant is over. Tyler, the Lions.
Gonna go to the Lions now?
Yeah.
We can do that. So I gave my Lions, I gave them a biased but fair B, is what I have it listed as. Jamar Gibbs, yeah, a little bit of a reach. I think he was their guy. It feels like a very on-brand thing for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell to do. I like him stepping into the shoes of Jamal Williams. Could be a low-key Rookie of the Year contender, in my opinion. We'll probably try to trade DeAndre Swift, which fine. I have no attachment to DeAndre Swift. Jack Campbell and Sam Laporta. Jack Campbell was the linebacker from Iowa in the first, towards the end of the first, and Sam Laporta is the tight end also out of Iowa. Both very Dan Campbell. I don't love the Jack Campbell pick. I think it was a little bit of a reach as well. And I would have much rather had Darnell than Laporta, but Laporta I think is more well-rounded than Darnell in like his passing as a passing threat.
Okay.
But he also is able to block a little bit, not nearly as well as Darnell, obviously. But Brian Branch, I think, is also somebody that
snag
is going to be huge. We've got a ton of picks. But Brian Branch is a snag. He fell to us. I thought he could go on day one easily. Great value. I'm concerned with his speed and size, like I said the other day. And then the other like big one was Hendon Hooker going to
I know, yeah, good for you.
Yeah, and I don't hate it, you know. Getting him in the third round, I think is great. Now, were we to take him at like the top of the second, where I saw him mocked, I would have probably been a little upset. No, love that.
Not the train.
Siren.
It is
not
Siren.
the train.
Siren, yeah. Someone's dying.
Best of the show, not friend. The train is a friend of the show.
But yeah, you know, I'm not overly disappointed with Hendon. Still Goff's team, obviously.
Yeah.
But this gives us a little bit of, we can test the waters a little bit, and then, you know, he might be the bridge guy after Goff's contract is up in 2 years. Maybe he'll develop into something great, maybe not. It gives us the freedom to kind of keep our options open.
I also have him with a B plus, or with the Lions with a B plus. I agree with a lot of what you said. The Jahmyr Gibbs thing I think is the weirdest pick in the draft so far for me. I just don't love a running back. Even Bijan, I'm just like, he's a running back. Do I think he's probably one of the best players in this draft? Do I think he's going to have a great career? Yes. Just a head scratcher for me.
And I struggle with that too. That's my mentality too. But I think I've got to convince myself to look past that contract and the cost thing. Like, I don't love how much money we have tied up in the running back between him and what's his name from the Bears? Montgomery, I think.
Yeah,
that we also
David.
signed this offseason. That's going to stress me out. But I'm choosing not to acknowledge that right now. And I think they'll be a very productive little duo.
All right. Yeah, I give them. Yeah, like I said, I think that yesterday saved their first round for me. So I don't hate as much as I did originally.
I think I would have even liked it if ignoring the Brian Branch thing. I think it would have been a B- for me without Brian Branch.
See, he jumped it for me a lot. I'm a big fan of his. I know that you have your questions.
I have my concerns.
I like him a lot.
He's an Alabama guy. I think he will be fine. He does kind of give me Okuda vibes. I'm glad we got him where he did.
Yeah.
Instead of where we got Okuda. But yeah, I think with where we got him, there's room for error.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with
Haley, other than the kicker, that just
was
taken.
Honestly, here's my thing. At the end on day 3, I don't want to jump out the window, which I consider a W in a Patriots draft. Getting Christian Gonzalez, I think, is huge.
Huge.
I'm happy that he fell to us. You guys talked about him at length the other day, and I think you both nailed it. I've been seeing a lot of comparisons to when Vince Wilfork fell in 2004, which was another huge part of our defense. Our defense, obviously, since he's retired and just in general, has seemingly always been lacking. So it's good to see them trying to invest a little bit into fixing that up. The other one I had is Keon White from Georgia Tech. We'll see how he does with the running game. I think he's awesome to have as an asset for the defense against running games because we'll see. His hands are huge, this kid. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to jump out the window, so I'm going to give them a B to B-. But
yeah, I would say with the kicker, weird.
Yeah, but that's just
don't disrespect the kickers, man.
The tight ends and kickers are my favorite.
He's fine. It's day 3. Let them do what they need to do
on this journey.
On this journey.
Yeah, I would say I gave the Patriots a B-, but Bill does whatever he wants in drafts. So any other?
I gave it a B+. I really like Christian Gonzalez.
Should too.
I think he's. He's one of the best players in the draft, I think.
He's in my top 5.
And Washington taking Emmanuel Forbes right before him, it was very like Justin Jefferson and being skipped by Jalen Reagor by the Eagles. It reminded me of that situation.
Bill orchestrated that perfectly. I think that's the biggest win of the whole draft is just him getting to continuously
he didn't have
stab
to
a knife in his enemies. And I think that matters to Bill more than other things.
Keon White too. I love his story.
Yes,
he's got a great
I'm not talking
story.
about this. The Jags are about to be on the clock. The Jets pick is in, so I might throw something. I might be happy in a few minutes. We will see. Any other football comments?
LOL at the AFC East quarterback situation. Is my big takeaway from the week.
Let me ask you something. With the need for Mac Jones to have some fucking weapons right now, and they took a kicker, how does that make you feel?
That was literally like, that made it a Patriot. It was too good to be a Patriots draft. Like we had too many good things going for us. I think Keon White and Christian Gonzalez are 2 of the draft picks we've had in like the last decade. Like I don't know.
I can't wait till this kicker that you two are trashing goes on to become a Hall of Famer. And we're going to clip this and put it up.
Steven Gostkowski is the pinnacle of Patriots kickers.
This kid could be better. You don't know.
No.
One of the best.
You don't know anything about this guy.
By
this kid.
far.
I don't.
But do we need it though, Tyler?
That's the
thing.
thing.
Need? Is it?
I don't know. Do you need a kicker? Who's your kicker?
You need a fucking running back, and you need a receiver. Or, dude.
Bill knows his special teams. That's all I'm saying.
Bill is letting the game of football pass him by.
I don't know about that one, Kendra. I won't support that.
That's fine. You don't have to.